Hello and welcome. This is Varun, Technical Advisor, Design and Prototyping and Educational Consultant for Tutormesh.com. In this session, we will be discussing about parametric drawing and constraints in AutoCAD. Parametric drawings are divided into three, that is geometrical constraints, dimensional constraints, and parameters manage. Parametric drawing is basically the technology that is used for designing with constraints. So that means you can actually assign constraints to the object while you are designing. This will help you to modify the object in much more easier and faster way. Geometrical constraints are the geometrical relationships that are assigned to the object with respect to other objects. It helps you to control the object in the geometrical relationship. The next one is dimensional constraints. It helps to control the dimensional aspects of an object like length, angle, radius, and so on. And the last one is parameters manager. Parameters manager will help you to manage the parameters which you have inserted in your drawing. You can also assign relationship between different parameters in AutoCAD. Now let's see each options in much more detail. Let's start with geometric constraints. There are 12 basic geometric constraints available in AutoCAD. Basically, we make use of all these constraints in our drawing. Now let's see each constraints in much more detail in the software. Now, to find the parametric settings in your AutoCAD, you can go to the ribbon palette and you can find a tab called Parametric. When you click on this tab, you can find the parametric options available on the ribbon palette. As we have discussed, there are three sections of parametric, that is geometric constraint, dimensional constraint, and manage. As we have discussed, let's start with the geometric constraints. We have already noticed that there are 12 geometric constraints available in AutoCAD, like this. So let's start with the first one, that is a coincident. Let me have a line like this, and let me have a line like this also. Now, if I want this line with this point to be coincident to this line with this point, we can use this constraint called coincident. I can go and select the first object to which you want to align the next object. So I will go and select this point as the object. Now I will select the object which I want to align towards the object. So the second object, let it be this one with this point, and you can see that the object aligned to this object with this point here. So that means after I have assigned the constraint, you can go and select, and if you try to move this object, you can see it is still under the constraint that it touches that point here. So like this, you can use constraints in a wide mode in your drawing. Now let's see the next constraint. Consider I have two lines like this. If I want this line to be exactly collinear with this line, I can use the option called collinear, which is available here. Let me go and click on collinear. So first I will select the line towards which I want to make collinear. So I want to make this line collinear with this line. So that means this must be my first object. So I will select this as my first object. Now I will go and select this as my second object to get a collinear property like this. So that means when I move this object from this point, it moves and rotates with the aspect of collinear like this. Now let's see the next constraint. Let us have a circle like this and a circle like this also. Now my intention is to bring this circle to the center point of this circle. So obviously we can use move command to bring it over, but it is also easy that you can assign a concentric constraint to this too. So that means I can go and select this concentric constraint and select the source object towards which I want to make the constraint, that is this one. Then I will select the object which I want to move or become as a concentric. I will select this one. So that means these two circles are now concentric. So when I move this circle with this center point to somewhere here, it moves together because both are concentric to each other. Clear? So like that you can use concentric option. The next one is fix. In order to use fix, let me have a line like this. Here we have the constraint fix. When I select this option, I can actually fix a point of the object permanently. So let's say this be my fixed point, and you can see the fix symbol is represented there. So that means when I select this line, I can actually rotate this line like this, but you cannot move this line because it is already fixed there. You can extend it or you can reduce the length, but you cannot extend the length from here because this part of the line is now fixed. The next constraint that we have to learn is parallel. Parallel constraint means it makes two objects parallel to each other with the constraint assigned to it. So let's say I have the parallel option available here. When I select this one, you have to first select the source object. Let this be my source object. And you can select the destination object which you want to make parallel to. So I will select this one and it automatically becomes parallel. So that means when I rotate like this, it rotates with the parallel option like this. So it's very beautiful when it works with that constraint. The next one is perpendicular. Perpendicular means it will help your line to be aligned perpendicular to the source object. So I will go for the perpendicular option, select the source object and select the line which has to be made perpendicular. Now you can see this line is directing perpendicular to this line. You can extend that line and if you move it like this, it will move according to the perpendicular constraint. Now the next one that we have to learn is horizontal constraint. Horizontal constraint will help your object to align horizontally in your drawing. So let me go and select the horizontal constraint and let me go and select this line. Now you can see that I am selecting the line with this end as the near point. So that means it will align this line horizontally with respect to this point. As you can see it here like this. Very nice. So it has moved this point towards here, fixing this point and making this line horizontal. Now I will do the horizontal same by selecting near to this edge and making it horizontal like this. So that means your selection also depends how you want to make the line horizontal. Similarly, you can come and use vertical constraint and make the line vertical like this. So it's pretty much easier now to create horizontal and vertical lines. The next one that we have to learn is tangent. For that, let me have a circle like this and a line like this. So my requirement is that this line must point tangent to this circle. So for that, let me use the tangent option which is available here and select the source object which is this one and the destination object like this. So this line automatically points tangent to the circle. So that means when I move my circle, the tangent also move respectively and making it equal and precise like this. Correct. Now the next constraint that we have to learn is called smooth. Smooth is basically used for constraining a spline object. That means if you want to join this spline to this spline with the same shape, it's very difficult to move it. So you can use smooth constraint and select the objects like this to make it align like this. So it's pretty easy that when you draw splines in your drawing like this, and eventually if you want to join this to spline, you can use the smooth constraint and select the spline to make it smooth like this. Now let's move on to the next constraint. The next constraint that we have to learn is symmetric. Consider I have a line like this. Correct. I have another line which depicts the axis like this and I have another line which is like this. Now my requirement is that this line must be symmetrical to this line with respect to this line. So I can use symmetric constraint, select the source object and the destination object with the mirror line like this. So now you can see both lines become symmetric to each other with this line. So this denotes that when you rotate or move this line, it will automatically affect the other line like that. So it's pretty easy if you design the object in symmetric way. Now, you can make up the last constraint very easily and it is very useful when you're designing many complex structures. Suppose I want this line to be of the same length of this line. So what you can do that you can make use of equal constraint. When you go and select the source object and select the destination object, it will become equal to each other. That means when you enlarge this line, it will enlarge the other line also. So this is very useful while you are designing many difficult drawings or complex designs in AutoCAD. So that was all about geometric constraint. You can make use of the other options which are available here, that is hide all, which means it will hide the constraint options which are showing with the lines like this. So when you click it, it will hide all the constraint options which is shown. But don't worry, it is still under the constraint like this. It won't delete the constraint from there. You can show all the constraints back, and if you want, you can delete the constraints from the objects like this also. So now it is free from the constraint. So it is also possible. You can also assign auto constraint, like if you have a rectangle like this and you are assigning auto constraint to the entire object like this and press enter, it will automatically assign few sets of constraint to it. Right. Now let's go for the next part of parametric drawing. The next one is dimensional constraints. Dimensional constraints is really useful while designing. It will help you to align the length or the radius or any angular parameter to an object. you can also adjust the value in real time in your drawing. Now let's see these options in the software. Consider I have a rectangle like this, or I have a line like this. I will go for the linear option. That means it will specify the linear length of the rectangle like this. Now you can see that it is showing 4116.1450 as the length. So that means if you want to edit this, you can double click it and change the value to say 5000 and press enter. So that means this length becomes 5000. As you know that the rectangle which I drawn was not under constraint, so it will automatically move only this line. Now consider I have another rectangle which I will draw with auto constraint like this. So it will be assigned automatically. Same linear length I will assign to this object from this point to this point like this. And I will give a value, say 5000, and press enter. So now you can see it moves very clearly because the constraints are assigned together. You can give the align length of a line like this from this endpoint to this endpoint like this and change the value to say 500 and press enter, so it will be changed to 500. If you have a circle like this, you can give the radius constraint like this and you can change the radius if you want, say 1000 and press enter, so it will be 1000 radius circle. Now say if you want to insert the diameter constraint, you can come to the diameter constraint which is available here, select it, select the object which you want to assign the constraint and input the value. Say I will input the value as 1000 for the diameter and press enter, so it will be like this. Correct. You can also assign the angular constraint which is available here. Angular constraint means it will assign the angles in an object. So when I go and click this option, select the source object and the destination object, you can give the angle. Now you can see that the angle is 48. You can change the value to say 60 and press enter, so your angle becomes 60 and this line moves. As I said that this is a real-time constraint. That means after editing few things, if you want to change the length of this line again, you can change it back to say 1000 and press enter, so it will be moved. So it is actually a real-time data entering. The last option which you have here is convert. Convert is nothing but you can convert your dimension to your dimension constraint. Now consider I have a line like this. If I want to give the dimension to this object, I can go to the home tab which is available here and go for dimension. We will be discussing about dimension in much more details in the upcoming videos. I will go for the align dimension, go for the align like this, and I will get the length of the line like this, which will be very small here. That is 8109.0298. Now, if I want to convert this dimension to dimensional constraint, I can go to the Parametric tab, go for convert dimension to dimensional constraint, select the dimension which I want to convert and press enter. It will be automatically converted to dimensional constraint. And you can input the value, say 5000 and press enter to change the value. So it's pretty easy to work with dimensions. Now the same options are available here. You can hide all the dimensional parameters, but still it will be having the same parameters here. You can go for show all in order to show all the dimensional constraint in your diagram. You can show or hide. Say if you want to hide this one and hide this one, you can press enter. You can hide it separately. So all these are useful while you are designing complex structures. So the last session of parametric drawing is manager. In the manager we have parameters manager like this, which will help you to manage the parameters in the drawing. Here it will list you all constraints which you have assigned to your drawing. So there are several columns which are available here. The first one is name, where the names of each constraints are given. The next one is expression, where what is the expression of the dimension. The value, what is the output value of that constraint. The type, it can be angular, horizontal, all these things, you can see it here. You can give any descriptions if you want. Now, in this parameters manager, the most important one is expression. Expression displays the real numbers or the equation for the expression. For example, here in the expression, you can give any equation to form that constraint. Now let's see this parameter manager in much detail in the software. Consider I have the drawing like this. Here you can find the parameters manager. When you click this, it will list down all the parameters which you have applied. So as you can see here, there are a lot of parameters applied here. That is angular, length, horizontal, all these things are applied here. So these parameters are shown here. So if you want to change the parameter, you can change it from here, or either you can come to the parameters manager and change it from here. Say D1, if I want to change it to 2000, I can do it like this. So it will be changed to 2000. And if you want to change parameter of D2 to say 10,000, you can make it like 10,000 and press enter. It will be changed to 10,000. So it is real-time expression changing in the software. So there is one more essential usage of parameter manager in AutoCAD, that is, you can input equations. Now let me say D3 is equal to D1 plus D2. So that means the value of D3 will be the sum of the length of D1 and D2. So when I click here, you can see that the length becomes 12,000. That means it will sum up D1 as 2000 plus D2 as 10,000 to give it the total length as 12,000. You can see here the length of the line also becomes 12,000. Right. Now let me auto hide this option and say I will change this 2000 to 3000 like this and press enter. So if you change this line also, it will automatically change the length of this line because you have already assigned an expression to this D3. So like that, you can use your drawings effectively and make relationship between objects by using the parametric constraints. So that's the end of this session, and we hope you understood well. Keep posting your queries and feedback, and for more videos, log on to www.automash.com. Thank you.